Hello, and thanks for joining me. This week, I wanted to touch on a concept that comes up a lot in change conversations, and it's the paradox of acceptance. Now, I think it's an interesting one because it seems to often cause people a lot of stress when they're wanting to make a change about something in their lives or of themselves. And I might suggest to them that they might want to try acceptance. Now, the resistance to acceptance often comes in, I think, what is kind of a misunderstanding of what acceptance really means in this context of change. So, for one thing, a lot of people seem to think that when I'm encouraging them to accept a situation or something about themselves, that I'm saying that by doing that, they are dooming themselves to the situation forever. So acceptance in their minds seems permanent. So if I, for example, accept the fact that I'm overweight, well, I'm basically stating that I'm saying that I'm going to be overweight forever. I'm not going to try to change it. I'm just going to be overweight, period. That's not what I'm saying at all. And that's not what acceptance in this context means by any means. So what the acceptance paradox is the ability that we have to hold two opposites, perceived opposites, in our minds at the same time. Acceptance being okay with what is, and change being something that we're desiring for the future, for the near future even. So the paradox is the fact that when we accept what is, it often makes it much easier to change. Now, I'm going to get into this a little bit more in a minute, but I want to talk again a little bit more about what it is that people resist when it comes to acceptance. So there's this belief that acceptance of something is allowing it to be permanent, or saying that we expect it to be permanent. Not true. The other thing about acceptance, I think, that a lot of people misunderstand is that they think that it means they are no longer going to have the drive to change. That acceptance is a kind of complacency, a settling for something substandard. And again, this is a misconception. In fact, the paradox is that when we accept something, when we stop fighting reality, we actually tend to unblock ourselves and make it, again, easier for us to change the thing we're seeking to change. So acceptance isn't settling for something intolerable. Now, it also doesn't mean that we are going to love the situation that we're in, the thing that we are having trouble accepting. Let's say we really want to stop smoking. We've been smoking for 20 years or so. So it might seem, again, counterintuitive to accept ourselves as smokers for the moment. Again, we're not saying, well, I'm going to be a smoker forever. We're just saying, okay, I'm a smoker. I'm a smoker. Again, seems counterintuitive that if I say this about myself or stop fighting the situation, then I'm actually going to be able to change the situation. But the fighting and the resisting of reality is often where we get stuck. It's the person who says, okay, I'm gonna quit cold turkey this week. And then the first stressful moment that comes along, they have the pack of cigarettes out again. It's that the New Year's resolution, okay, I'm gonna lose 30 pounds, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna make it happen. But because it's coming from a place of really fighting what is, not accepting oneself as you are right now, oftentimes this creates blocks and it creates relapses and all sorts of things. So what am I trying to point out about acceptance? A couple of things. One, acceptance is simply relaxing into what is in the moment, right now. It's not some sentence that you're placing on yourself for the future, because we are only living right now. And if we're not living in the now, if we're trying to push against some future change that we would like to make, and force ourselves into a change that isn't working most of the time, then we're not actually living fully in the now. We're not actually in the present. Being present, being in the now, is being on board with reality. Now, again, that doesn't mean you have to love every aspect of reality. It's just relaxing into reality. It's seeing reality for what it is. It's not fighting against reality or trying to deny reality. It also has to do with the fact that when we're accepting, let's say, ourselves, I'm accepting myself in the body that I'm in. I am embracing who I am as being enough, as being whole right now in this moment. I'm not saying I'm not good enough. It doesn't mean, again, that I don't maybe want to improve things or change things. That's not what I'm saying. But we're starting from a place of wholeness instead of starting from a place of I need to change or else, starting from a place of inadequacy. That makes all the difference. When we are okay with who we are right here, right now, when we are in that state of mind, that is a state of mind in which it's possible to have well-being. We're not fighting ourselves, we're not struggling against ourselves, we're not struggling against reality. We're okay. And from that place of okay, it makes it much easier to make changes. And as I was saying before, oftentimes when we are fighting really hard to make a change, or we're struggling against ourselves in some way, we're actually blocking ourselves from naturally changing. The fact of the matter is that we're always changing. We're always changing. And when we allow ourselves space, when we relax into what is, we allow ourselves to change and evolve in the direction that we're wanting to move. So there's more of a flow in this process when we start from a place of acceptance. We're open to changing, and we're open to changing in ways we might not have even expected. Now, I've seen this happen with many people before. When they finally stopped struggling against themselves and they just surrendered, the change happened. I've seen it happen with smokers. I've seen it happen with people who wanted to lose weight. I've seen it with a host of other examples as well. But there's a magic moment, a moment of giving up the fight, a moment of accepting oneself, warts and all, in the moment, or accepting the situation and trying to find the lesson in it versus trying to escape from it. And the truth of the matter is that we all are changing and situations are changing all the time. And if we actually relax into natural states of change, we are much more likely to reach our goals in an easier way. Now, I'm not saying there might not be effort that you have to put in. I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying that you might not have to cultivate some discipline or change some lifestyle habits. But when you do it in a relaxed way, from a place of acceptance and embracing who you are and what's happening in life in the moment, then it happens with such ease. And it happens. When we're fighting ourselves, when we're fighting the situation, that doesn't ever make it better. It doesn't ever make it feel less painful either. So something to just chew on this week, and see if there are some areas in your life that you might be able to relax a little bit into, ease up on yourself around. You might find that you just make that change in a very surprising way. Right. Well, I'm wishing you a wonderful week, and I will see you next time.